In this video, I want to share my design of a 3D printed formula-inspired race wheel for Fanatec's CSL Universal Hub V2. Ever since coming across this hub, with its bolt-on wheel interface, I've wanted to tackle a project like this. So, when I got one from my wife for Christmas, inevitably, a few days of my holiday were sacrificed to CAD and 3D printing, but it was so worth it. In the interest of full disclosure, I don't currently have relationships with any of the companies whose products may be mentioned, but I'll share some affiliate links in the video description if you'd like to support my channel with your purchases. I'll also leave a link to this project on Printables.com, where you can find all of the printing and CAD files needed to make your own. That said, let's get into it. To start, I spent a bit of time image searching a variety of gaming and official formula wheels to get a good feel of the overall shape and dimensions that I wanted. I landed on a fully connected handlebar design because I wanted to ensure that the wheel would be strong enough to bear the turning forces put out by my 8 Nm hub when printed in plastic, as most commercial wheels have an aluminum frame. Then, working from a scaled image of the Universal Hub's interface, I roughed out a master sketch to ensure that there wouldn't be interference with the button panels, and I was off. After 3 iterations, I decided on a 274mm or just over 10 3/4 inch outer diameter for the wheel, with a 22mm thickness that extends 29mm deep. This provides a slightly boxy hand feel that's quite comfortable and is well matched to the basic Alcantara style formula wheel that Fanatec sells. The wheel's faceplate is a generous 8mm thick to account for the all-plastic construction and mounts to the Universal Hub using 3 M5 screws, which fit into the larger 70mm diameter mounting holes. I centered the wheel arc about the middle of this mounting pattern, which is actually a little lower than the hub's center of rotation, because this causes the wheel to curve inward at the top, allowing my wrist to sit in a more natural, internally rotated position when driving. The pattern on the front face of the wheel also looks really cool, but isn't actually anything fancy. It's just the pattern transferred from this PEI-coated steel print bed that I picked up for my Prusa XL. Nonetheless, I think it adds something to the aesthetics of the wheel. Aside from the handle dimensions, I spent most of my 5 design iterations really locking in the shape of the thumb touch points on either side of the handle, ensuring that they were curved generously to avoid pinching, but also deep enough to avoid concentrating the turning forces too sharply on my thumb pads. In the end, it has a 22mm radius that extends 20mm behind the front face, and this feels very comfortable to me. I also took inspiration from the Fanatec formula handle and added a little pinky groove to either side of the handle back, which allows me to quickly reposition my hands on the fly after moving to fiddle with some of the more central buttons. Other than this, the wheel was designed to be printed directly on its front face so that the deposited filament fibers would be in the same plane as the wheel's rotational moments. This ensures that most of the grip depth extends back from the mounting plate towards the paddle shifters. It's also worth noting that a steep asymmetric chamfer was applied to the edges around the front face of the wheel, which were then filleted from the back edge to allow the front of the handle to be comfortably curved without having a fillet extending directly tangential to the print surface, as this would have caused drooping and print issues. As you probably noticed, I printed my race wheel a couple of different ways, first just with PLA+, then with a PLA+ core, and with a thin 95A TPU coating. Either way, since the design is a unibody construction, it has to be printed on a larger than normal 3D printer. I used my dual extruder Prusa XL, where it comfortably fits with room to spare. Again, I'll share my print configuration files on the Printables website so you can check out all of my settings, but the key perimeter and infill settings that I used are shown here as a starting point. For the multi-material print, the TPU coating was applied by painting all except the front and hub interfacing backside of the wheel, resulting in a 1.8mm thick section of the TPU bonded to the outside of an otherwise PLA+ core. Since the TPU is applied as 3 solid perimeters around the outside of the wheel, it's quite firm, but gives a slightly grippier texture compared to PLA. and I really like the customizable color accent that the TPU adds to the wheel. But don't worry, if you don't have multi-material print capabilities, the straight PLA Plus prints turned out really nice as well, and actually finish about 33% faster, coming in at 8 hours and 42 minutes compared to 13 hours for the multi-material wheel. Either way, I would recommend cleaning up the brim and touch points with a deburring tool after printing, just to smooth out the edges a hair more. All things considered, this was a really fun project to undertake. I hope that you found it interesting, and please feel free to find the files on the project page and print your own. As I said in the beginning, if you want to help support my channel, you can make purchases through the affiliate links that I'll leave in the video description. Otherwise, I'd really be happy to hear what you think in the comments below. I'm quite happy with the performance of this custom wheel thus far, but I've also been kicking around a few other design ideas. If you're interested in more content like this, please let me know. And if you like this wheel but don't have access to a printer to print your own, feel free to reach out to me through email or on Instagram to purchase one. Otherwise, as always, please hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.